everybody, my name is Lulu and welcome back to the Financial Corner. And as always, this is a place where we provide you with easy, implementable and effective financial tips to help you reach financial fitness and also create sustainable wealth that can help us to finish the Great Commission. So today I'm joined by a financial advisor, an actuary, a mom, a wife. You could call her a superwoman who has a passion for investments. And she's going to help us to navigate our finances in times of a storm. So she's literally helping us weather our finances when there is a storm. And I know many of us are alarmed or we are panicking because of the ever rising and increasing financial repo rates as well as the prime rates. And for those who have loans or mortgages with financial institutions, this is like a panic attack for most of you. But she's going to help us to weather those storms, and help us keep calm and help us keep floating and ensure that we are not drowning in times like this. She goes by the name Mary G, but we like to call her Mary. And she's going to share her passion about investments. And as a financial advisor, she has a wealth of knowledge to share. There's diversified investments that you could choose from out there. And sometimes, we get boggled up and confused as to where to start. So she's there to guide us through this process. It's going to be a 3-part series. You don't want to miss out on it. And I would like to urge you to take the time to go through all of these processes and make sure you apply it to your situation with whatever point you are in when you're setting up or starting with this financial fitness. So let's get started.
Okay, so maybe to start off with, the Bible talks a lot about temperament. Maybe that's where I'll start with. And in that, it's all about trying to not be on the excessive side of things. So when we are talking about money and building, you're trying to bring yourself at a point that is decent enough to live. And I'll say why. In the Bible, we are living in a world, right, where we have a lot of influences factoring in our life, day-to-day life. Right? And even in Leviticus, we are given a whole talk about the type of foods we need to eat because depending on what you eat is what you become.
Right.
And because our focus here is really to just to evangelize and to read the Word of God and become, character fit for heaven. All those necessities are required to better enable you to stand a better chance of getting into heaven.
Right.
And that's the way I also look at it with finances and your money. Like, again, we have many influences. Money is like a big part in our lives, It determines, will you eat tomorrow, Will you be able to even help the next person when we're told about helping the poor? Like, are you able to function as a human being in this life without money? It's almost impossible now. We can almost not imagine it. Children are starving because they have no money to death. So it's important to talk about it so that, and this is why we're focusing so much on not really, in this session, not really financial wealth, but financial stability.
Right.
Where you are able to take in the money you have and manage it in such a way that will give you one less thing to stress about in this journey that we are walking through, and you're able to just focus your mind on the mission that we have been brought here to do, commanded by God.
Mary, tell us, how do I weather my finances during times of storms?
Thank you, Lulu, for the question. It's quite a great question, actually. I think many of us do understand that and have gone through times or periods where you felt that the amount of money you have within your hands is not enough for a certain situation that you have found yourself in. And I know we're talking a lot about making financial wealth, so it's us just really trying to make sure that the income that comes into our pockets is not like water you throw in a bucket with holes. We are trying to cover up all those holes and hold what we have put in. Now, there are a few steps that I would like to share with you all that would help you to be able to weather your finances during hard times. Okay, I think you might have heard quite a lot about the first step. As I mentioned, it's going to be 4 steps. The first step is us trying to stop debt completely. I think this is quite common nowadays. This is almost the universal advice that's being spread around. where we are trying to reduce debt. Now, I know we may be having those Foschini accounts, every time you see a beautiful outfit, you're ready to purchase it, or even just to the points where you crave a cake or something like that, and someone decides to buy some food on account. I see in Woolies, people purchase food on account. And next thing you know, next day the food is gone, but you have a debt to pay.
Sure.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
So it's about these moments of trying to control yourself during such times. And so we want to eradicate debt completely.
Right.
I would say the first step, stop the debt immediately. Now, you may question, there are good debts and there are bad debts. Rule of thumb, every time you're trying to decide, is this a debt I should take? Is this a debt I shouldn't? Ask yourself this question. Is this debt going to bring me more income in the future?
Right.
All right? And that's where you now understand that, if you want to take a debt with NASFA for education, it makes sense because you are developing yourself to a point where you'll be able to then, find a job in the future to give you a salary. Another thing that might not be as obvious might be, say, for example, you want to buy a mop random in game, for example. Now, if it's just a mop, you like the style of it, you already have a mop at home, but you want this type because it's more fancy, just to clean your house, it's not really gonna do much for you. But if you're gonna buy it so that you can start doing some entrepreneurial jobs, going out there and cleaning and making it one of your businesses, then that's a different story. It's something you're buying to bring in more income for yourself. So there, I would say yes, always just make sure whatever debt you are deciding to take on, will it give you enough? Will it produce income for you in the future?
Wow.
Okay, so that's the first tip. Second tip, reduce the debt. Okay, we need to make sure we reduce it so that we are able to create more extra cash for us to gain that financial stability that we are trying to seek for during these times of storm. Right. Ways you can reduce your debt, obviously, is every extra income you start to have on, you can then put it off to set off some of the debts. Another thing is, many times you'll find yourself with a lot of things in the house. Me and my husband found that in the garage is just full, stashed with storage. We're not using these things. It's been a year and you've not touched it. But if you just decide, take a picture, put it on Facebook, on the marketplace, there's a huge second-hand market in this country. People are going through the hardest times in the economy. So even to think of going to a shop to buy that amount, specific item might be too expensive, and hence why many people have resorted to Facebook. I always just check what it is that's extra, Google around roughly what's the cost in the market, and then I set a price a little lower than that, and then it's sold. You can really make a lot of income with that as well. So you use that to reduce your debts. Okay, so that's the second tip. The third tip, reduce your expenses also. Okay, so you're really trying to just create as much extra cash as you can. After you have now tried to reduce some of the debt, you can then start to try and find other avenues to reduce your other expenses. I've noticed a lot of the highest expense in a household is generally food, right? And so if you can, by all means, try and just create a structure where you just buy enough for what you need for the week. And if, say, you're one of those impulsive buyers, instead of completely cutting yourself off, you can always just try and you can always try and limit yourself. If you like to go out, eat out to restaurants, instead of just doing it every time you feel like it, limit yourself to two times a year.
Right.
I mean, 2 times a month or something, at least. And that can help you as well, just overcome some of these excessive expenses in the house. Okay, so that's just a few points there. Then lastly, once you have been able to reduce the areas that leak out your income, which is the debts, the expenses, you're then able to hold on to the extra cash. You're able to build a certain amount of cash that you can now start thinking about, what do I do to spend this money with, right? And as we mentioned earlier, you are looking for ways to be able to cover yourself during times of struggle. And so by having this extra cash, the first and foremost thing I would always like to advise one is that you always put your money, a certain amount of money as an emergency fund. And that, a rule of thumb that has been always spread is that keep at least 6 months worth of your salary.
6 months?
6 months. Because if you think about it, maybe if say you lose your job, things go hard. 6 months is a good time to try and recover, look for another job and be able to continue your lifestyle as it was during the 6 months. And so that's why they come up with that. And where you can invest it is now a whole other series. But I think we will share that with you in a different session of the areas where you can invest that money. But first of all, yes, you have an emergency kitty, and then if you have more extra cash from that emergency kitty, that's when you can start to build on other investments. Depending on your financial goals, maybe you want to travel, you want a house, or you want a car. There are different investment vehicles that can help to accommodate for all those different types of goals that you may want. And so, yeah, I think I'll stop there for now, Lulu.
Mary, those are awesome tips. I love them. So you're saying if I want to reach that financial stability, I should start by paying off my debts. So I can't invest and pay off my debts simultaneously?
I mean, it's possible. You could if you feel that you can. But most of the time, people that I've noticed to be in debt, they struggle to gain that extra cash from the start. So it's almost just trying to remove that first before you start to add on other areas of spending your money. Like if I were to call a very loose term of investing, but yeah, that you'll be able to find other reasons of spending your money. So I would definitely say if you can, even better, right? But if not, it's not a train smash. It's easy, just get rid of it first and then you can start saving. It's never too late.
Oh, that is awesome, Mary. I'm sure somebody's benefiting from this as much as I am.
Thanks everybody for joining us for part 1 of our series where we learned about weathering your finances in times of storm. Thank you so much, Mary G, for the wealth of knowledge. We really appreciate your financial expertise and we're looking forward to part 2. You don't want to miss that one. From us here from the Financial Corner, till we meet again next time.